Welcome all. Today we will discuss about the various thermal and acoustic insulating materials used in the construction. So we learned the important parts of a building, the various building materials used for making the building, and the all the buildings are made for some purpose. It may be for living or some business or any other thing. So, for all the buildings, the thermal comfort and the acoustic insulations are must. The thermal is applicable for all the buildings, and the acoustic insulations, the extent of acoustic insulation depends or varies from uh, the purpose of building. So, let's get into the presentation. The thermal insulation, it means it is the reduction of heat transfer between the objects in thermal contact. So basically it is to isolate the heat coming into the building. The fibrous cellulose granular substances are commonly used for thermal insulation materials in the buildings. The thermal insulation provides the region of insulation. It is a barrier in which thermal conductivity is reduced, and based on the selection, it means what are the factors to be considered on the selection of thermal insulation materials. They are based on the thermal conductivity, the extent of conductivity you need, the temperature you need for indoor and outdoor spaces, durability, cost, and other factors influence the selection of materials. The thermal insulation can be also achieved by specially engineered methods. So now we will see the important materials which are used for thermal insulation. There are some other special engineering methods which we are not discussing. We will see directly the materials used for the thermal insulating materials. So first one is the fiber glass. You can see the picture here. The fiber glass is most commonly used thermal insulation material. It is made effectively by weaving fine strands of glass into an insulation material. So it is able to minimize the heat transfer. It is excellent in non-flammable insulation material. But since this is having some silica glass content, it is not good for health. So it should be take precaution while using the thing and cutting the fiberglass. The next one is aerogel and pyrogel. You can see the figure aerogel and pyrogel. So aerogel is somewhat affordable insulation material, and it has got very high heat resistant capacity up to 2000 Fahrenheit. Similarly, the pyrogel is the most efficient industrial insulating material. So they are used for mainly industries, and the thickness is more or less less than 50 mm. Although these materials, especially pyrogel, is more expensive, they are used. They are as their best insulation material. They are used for some business purposes or some other buildings of importance. Next is the mineral wool. You can see the figure. The mineral wool is purchased in loose material. It is non-combustible, and it is basically of three types: glass wool, rock wool, and slag wool. And you can see the contents from where, or the materials from where it is manufactured. Next is the cellulose material. The cellular insulations are generally called as eco-friendly constructions. They are they're made from recycled cardboard, paper, etc., and they are good fire resistant, and they are the cheapest way of insulation. Next one is polystyrene. It is a waterproof thermoplastic foam. It has got excellent sound, so acoustic option is also there. Excellent sound and temperature insulation material. They the two differ in the there are two types, expanded and extruded. They are differ in the performance ratings and the cost, and this foam is flammable, so you have to take much care for the it's not good for very high temperature and needs to be coated with a fireproofing chemical for the before the application. Next one is the polyurethane foam, and the polyurethane foam is excellent form of insulation because of its insulation capacity. They are lightweight and fire resistant, and but they are not eco-friendly. It has very low density foams and can be sprayed into the areas that have no insulation. We can directly spray this one to another material. So we just learned the various uh, materials used for thermal comfort. So we will see how to make the building soundproof. So acoustic insulation insulating materials. The high noise conditions not only result in uncomfortable living, but the prolonged exposure is unhealthy. It may cause temporary deafness or nervous breakdowns. Though it is difficult to prevent the outdoor noises coming into the building, but acceptable indoor noise levels can be achieved by the adequate planning of building and using suitable insulating materials. So this is our aim. And soundproofing is very important in the case of film studio, radio, broadcasting station, television, etc. Because even a small voice will affect their program or their work. So the insulation of noises is important for office buildings, hospitals, educational institutions, hotels, etc. And the acoustic form, sound insulating bats, acoustic panels or boards, acoustic fabrics, acoustic cooling, floor underlayment, architectural soundproofing are the various methods of acoustic or various methods or various materials used for acoustic insulation. So we will study some materials in detail. First one is the acoustic form. You can see the arrangement of the material. So acoustic form is an open celled form used for acoustic treatment. The acoustic form is to improve sound quality by removing the residual sounds in any space. The acoustic form can be of any color, shape, and thickness. It can be attached to the walls and other features of a room to control noise level, vibration, and echoes. So these projections on the surface will it will reduce the sound intensity. So this is usually seen in the on the walls of hotels and even on the theaters. Next one is the sound insulating bats. You can see some arrangement here. So this sound attenuation means decreasing the intensity. These bats are lightweight, flexible fiberglass insulation bats designed to deliver noise control in metal studs wall cavities for interior partitions. Within the home, the acoustic bats are primarily used in three areas: ceilings, walls, and between the floors. The common acoustic insulation bats are made from either glasswood or the polyester fibers. So these are the sound insulating bats. Okay, we learned this one, acoustic form. Okay, coming to the next one. Third one is the acoustic panels or boards. You can see the figure here. An acoustic board is a special kind of board made of acoustic materials. So between the two outer walls, a sound absorbing material is inserted. So you have two walls in between. You are placing a insulating material. The sound passes through the acoustic board, then the sound get decreased. So loss of sound energy is balanced by producing the equivalent heat, and this is a conversion happening because no energy can be created, neither can be destroyed. Next one is the fabric, like cloth like material used for the acoustic purpose. Acoustic fabrics, they are thicker and heavier than natural fibers, and they are used as curtains in theater and also as a blackout curtain. So this will absorb the sound. Next one is the acoustic coating. So we can also apply the coating to the existing walls. So materials like mass loaded vinyl MLV and dense rubber like materials are used for this. It is used in many situations such as soundproofing, machinery, appliances, and as underlayments. The mass of the materials act as the sound barriers. So next one is the floor underlayment. That means some material is kept below the floor. So you can see the figure here, decorative surface layer of polymer is here, a wooden based core layer, backing layer and thickness of core. So this arrangement of materials will reduce the sound. So soundproofing a hardwood or tile floor requires the decoupling of the floor surface and subfloor to reduce the noise transmission. So the floor underlayment are thin materials that rest on the floor covering above the subfloor, and they serve the additional function such as to deaden the sound of footsteps. So while walking there won't be any voice or sound will be reduced, soften the feeling of the flooring underfoot, and in some cases to act as the moisture barrier. So the other method of architectural soundproofing, this is a kind of engineering work. So architectural acoustic is a science and engineering that deals with achieving the good sound effects within the buildings. So here they provided some holes, and this will reduce the uh, sound intensity. It can be achieved by good speech intelligibility and in theaters, restaurants, railway stations, recording studios, etc. Okay, that's all about the thermal and acoustic installations required for the building. Thank you.